Good evening, everyone. This is Robert. Starting a little late here because I had some technical difficulties to fix, but I got them all ironed out. This is a special presentation of Inside Pitch, the 2016 season review and reveal show. So sorry for the little snafu. I wanted to start the thing at 8 o'clock, but I had an issue with the camera. I had to fix it real quick. But everything is good. Everything is fine. And it is time to do the season review and reveal show. Good evening, everyone. How is everyone doing out there? No, Phil, I just started the show, so the season hasn't been revealed yet. So, good to see everybody tonight. And here, of course, we have we just completed the 2016 season of Inside Pitch. And what a season it was, guys. Really, what a season it was. This season was a lot of fun to play. A lot of surprises in this year for 2016. It kind of tells me that, no, Phil, you can't cast your vote again. But the 2016 season, the first contemporary season we did on the network, most seasons were classic or legendary, but I'll tell you, this contemporary season was a blast to do, and I look forward to doing some more in the future, because I know we will be doing some more contemporary years as we move forward. But the 2016 season is done, and we can say that was a very exciting season to do. And hello to everyone. Of course, you guys know I usually go ahead and introduce everyone, but this is I usually get a lot of views here. So as we go ahead and just review how the 2016 season went, this was a lot of fun. A number of surprises, really. A lot of surprises in the Inside Pitch game. FastScore pretty much went chalk, all right, for the year. And so we could say that 2016 was a total success, and may have been, in my opinion, probably I had the best. That probably was the best World Series I've done. That 2016 World Series in 6 games. That World Series in 6 games was amazing. Yeah, out of the 6 games played in the World Series, 5 of them were decided by 1 run. The team that scored first in that World Series was 1-5. The Dodgers were the only team that scored first in Game 5 and actually won the ball game. Every game was close. Every game could have went differently. Two huge games of 9th inning magic, but we'll get to that when we get to there. Let's go ahead first and take a look how FastScore did first. We'll take a look and see how FastScore did, as we'll check out the FastScore pages. Then we'll go to the games. For FastScore. For FastScore here in the American League East on page 1, the Orioles and the Red Sox both got out to quick starts, 16 wins. Yankees and Toronto right behind them. The Chicago White Sox actually got out to very quick in the season with 14 wins. Cleveland and Kansas City right behind them. Tigers got out slow. They were 9-15. The Twins were just awful. The Angels got out quickly, followed by the Astros, followed by the Mariners, pretty much in that. And in the National League, the Washington Nationals got out quickly. The Mets were right behind them. Marlins got out pretty good quickly. The Chicago Cubs, they were the best team in FastScore. Absolutely, they were the best team in FastScore. And in the National and the Giants got out 16 wins. Arizona got out pretty quick with 15 wins. Dodgers and Rockies right there. And moving on to page 2, the Orioles had the lead still. After this time, they were 33-18. The right behind them was the Red Sox at 30-23. The Blue Jays 29-25. And so the Minnesota Twins, 30, they were awful. They were 14-38. Just look at all the losses in a row here on this page. You can tell how good a team did or how bad a team did if you look at how the standings go, for the season. The Astros had the lead after this page at 30 wins and 23 losses. The Mariners right behind them. Texas Rangers were one game above. And in the National League, a three-way pretty much in the National League East: Nationals, Mets, and Marlins. The Marlins at 31-22. Mets are right behind them. Chicago Cubs, the Pittsburgh Pirates at one time were only 2 games back of the Cubs. And in the West, the Giants had 33 wins. Arizona, Colorado, the Dodgers were at 500 at 27-27. So amazing how FastScore went in this 2016 season. The Orioles continued to hold first place after page 3, 44 wins. Then Toronto, the Red Sox, the Yankees were still in it. And the Yankees, of course, in 2016 were mediocre. They really weren't that great a ball club in that season. The Indians started taking a big jump here. They went to 44-29, and then the Tigers finally surged and got out to 39 wins, and the Tigers did well there. Oh, Salvador, he just had surgery. Well, again, I hope you and Mrs. America are doing just fine. You guys, you continue doing there. I expect you to watch another great. Hopefully, maybe your Red Sox will be in another World Series in the future. Tough loss for them in this 2016 World Series, that was for sure. Too much ninth inning magic, I should say. The Astros and the Mariners had 42 wins. They were tied. The Rangers were 39-36. The Angels and the Athletics pretty much not in it. The National League East, the Marlins at one point were in first place in the National League East. They were 45 after this page. They were 45-30 at the halfway mark. The Nationals were behind them, and the Marlins were and the Mets were about 3 games back of the Marlins. So at one point, the Marlins actually held on, to first place in the division, like they actually did in 2016. Cubs still owned it. The Pirates were staying very close to the Chicago Cubs. The Pirates are only 2 wins back. Milwaukee and St. Louis were still close. The Reds in 2016 were not a good team. And then here in the National League West, the Dodgers finally surged. They went from 27-27 to 43-33. The Dodgers finally won a whole bunch of games and wound up only 1 game back of the Giants in the National League West. Arizona, Colorado, and San Diego started fading fast. On this page, the Orioles, the Red Sox were now tied at 56 wins. Toronto was still very much in it. Yankees were now under 500 after this page, 48-52. The Cleveland Indians surged here. They went from 44-29 to 61-37. The Indians suddenly got very hot. And the Tigers, they were holding on for dear life. They were only 1 game above 500. And Kansas City and the White Sox were pretty much out of it. Minnesota was dead in the water from the season start. The Rangers surged. They now got to 55 wins and now led the American League West, followed by the Astros and the Mariners. And the Oakland Athletics actually made a quick surge. They got to only 5 games under 500, but they couldn't hold it. All right there, Salvador America. Good to see you, my good friend. And again, it was a tough series for your Red Sox, but hey, they won the American League title, so that is something to say on my network. They beat the Cleveland Indians, all right, in 2016 on my network, so that is something to say. If anything, the Red Sox do get to hang an American League pennant. in the National League here, suddenly the Marlins continue to hold true. But I always said when the Mets started staying behind the Marlins, I said the Marlins were gonna start collapsing, and they actually would do that later. And the Nationals would take over the National League East. The Cubs, they started running away with it. They were now nine games ahead of Pittsburgh after this page. The Brewers were still holding strong. Cardinals were still trying to stay alive. National League West still very up for grabs. Dodgers and the Giants. And then we move on to this page, and then the Red Sox surged, and now they started to own the American League East. Baltimore and Toronto fading a little bit. It would be between these two for the American League East. The Indians were actually went into a little bit of a stretch of some losses here, and the Tigers suddenly got a little close. They were only 5 games back of the Indians at one point, and even Kansas City went on a bit of a push and got to one game under 500. The Rangers then took over the American League West. Mariners and the Astros right behind them. National League East, the Nationals were now taking control of the division. The Marlins were 2 games ahead of the Mets, but I still expected them to collapse. The Cubs, they were 83-43 at the time. The Chicago Cubs were the best team in FastScore, no doubt about that. The Pirates still stayed strong. The Brewers were now 1 game under 500. Milwaukee thought they might have a shot. The Cardinals are now 2 games over 500. So the Cardinals were getting a little bit closer. It was the Dodgers and the Giants and everybody else in the National League West. On this page, the Red Sox took over. They would win this division pretty much easily. Baltimore will clinch the second place spot. The Indians went really strong. They went on a real big tear here where I had to make some room. And they went from 73-53 to 95-59. The Indians were tight and pretty much left the Tigers in their wake. Texas and Seattle fighting it out in the American League West. The Astros, this is where they collapsed. They were 65-62 at the start. At the end of this page, they were 72-83. The Astros went on a very bad slump, which pretty much took them out of the race for the American League West. And here, the Nationals or 92-62, they would clinch this division. And there you see the Marlins at 69-58. At the end of this page, they would be 77-79. And the Mets were 2 back, and the Mets would then have a 6-game lead on the Marlins for second place. So the Mets would overtake the Marlins here. The Cubs just ran away with the National League Central. There's really not much to say about that. The Pirates would clinch the second place in the division. The Dodgers and the Giants came all the way down to the final week. And at the final week, on the final standings of the season, Boston and Baltimore. Boston would win the division, win the American League East. Baltimore would get second. The Indians would get 100 wins, and they would get the number 1 seed in the AL. Detroit would make the postseason. Texas would be number 3. The Mariners would get in and go to the wild card. The Nationals would win the National League West. The Mets would come in second place. The Cubs with 111 wins. They win this division with no problem. The Pirates do get in. And San Francisco and the Dodgers tie at 96-66. But because the Dodgers had a better board record than the Giants did, the Dodgers finished with a 5-4 board record, and the Giants finished with a 3-6 board record. And that's the reason why the Dodgers won the National League West and would get the number 2 seed in the 2016 postseason. So that is how FastScore visioned it out. That's how FastScore visioned it out. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the games. So let's see here. We started with the demo game between Cleveland and the Cubs, 4-3. Of course, I'll have another demo game coming up at the start of the next season, as usual. Opening day was the New York Mets at Kansas City, and the Mets actually lost the game historically, but they would win this one 5-1. The Cardinals beat the Pirates in a good one. The Dodgers shut out the Giants. So let's keep track of this, shall we? Let's go ahead and keep track and see how many shutouts we had, okay, in this 2016 season, because this was definitely the year of the shutout. So there's one shutout right there. Okay. Cleveland over Tampa Bay. This was a game of the year as Cleveland got a run in the top of the ninth inning. We gave this a game of the year look-see as they won it in the top of the ninth. And let's see here, a home run by Santana. Corey Kluber had 13 strikeouts. That's the reason why this was a game of the year candidate. I'll say, okay, not bad, but I'll mark that off as a negative. Arizona beat San Diego 7-1. Washington over Miami 4-1. Toronto and Baltimore. This was a game of the year candidate. Baltimore won the game with 2 in the bottom of the 10th inning to win it on a 2-run bomb by Manny Machado against the Blue Jays. It's a nice win, but nothing really special about that. But still, it's a game of the year candidate. This is where we go through the games and we decide which will stay as game of the year candidates. The Cubs beat the Reds 5-3. Detroit over Oakland 8-1. Justin Verlander had a complete game. Boston beat the Yankees 6-2. Angels over Milwaukee 5-3. Seattle beat Houston 7-5 as the Mariners got three runs in the top of the ninth inning to win this. A walk and single, double, single. Not a bad game, but again, nothing special there. Texas is 3-0. Here's another shutout. 3-0 Texas over the White Sox, and that's the second shutout of the season. Then we had another shutout. Philadelphia shut out Atlanta 5-0. And that was the third, and that is the third shutout of the year. And this got a game of the year candidate. And I'm wondering why it did. And it looks like there were 2 hit by pitches, a wild pitch here. They scored a game on the top of the ninth inning on a wild pitch. Okay, but nothing special really. The Rockies shut the Mets out 7-0. This was the game that I got that my internet went out. This was the game where my internet went out and I couldn't finish. And unfortunately, the internet did not come back up until later. So I tried going ahead and finishing it, but I said, nah, it was already. We were in the top of the 8th inning when the Mets were down 7-0. This could have been a game of the year candidate. The Rockies were destroying the Mets in this game. The Mets couldn't do anything with it. This is the one. So this is the one where I lost the internet. But it does go as a shutout. So that's the 4th shutout of the season. Detroit beat Minnesota 2-1. Seattle over Cincinnati 4-2. White Sox over Cleveland 5-1. St. Louis over Washington 6-5. Game of the year. This is a game of the year and good one here. Daniel Murphy hit for the cycle in this game. This is the one where he hit for the cycle right here. Double, walk, triple, home run, single, and got an extra base on an error. So Daniel Murphy got the cycle for this. So this one here is a definite recheck when Daniel Murphy hit for the cycle. So this one is definitely a possible game of the year here. Even though he did get the cycle, though, the Cardinals did beat the Nationals, though, 6-5 in this game. And let's see, when the Mets are getting bombed, Robert takes his dice and go home. I'm gonna do a Bill. I may do a Bill Swift replay. I know for a fact you're not gonna miss that, Steeler fan. I know Matt will not. If I do a Bill Swift replay, I know for a fact Matt will not miss a single game of Bill no-hitter Swift. Are I right, Steeler fan? You definitely won't miss a game of your favorite player of all time, Bill no-hitter Swift. Baltimore beat Boston 2-1. And let's see here. Let's see, Cubs. Let's see here. He gives me the block dragon. Cubs beat the Dodgers 2-0. That's your fifth shutout. So we have 5 shutouts so far, and we're only in June of this season. Then Philadelphia shuts out Milwaukee. That's the 6th shutout. The Yankees beat the Angels 8-2. This was a game. This was the game where Parmalee hit the 2 home runs. This was a game where Parmalee, who actually hit the 2. This game was funny. This was a game between the Los Angeles Angels and the New York Yankees. And this was the game that Chris Parmalee, went ahead. He hit 2 home runs in this game, all right, and was trying to get a third. This is the one that Chris, I believe, was I think Chris Davis was watching this game. I'm not 100% sure. I think this is the game that Chris was watching. Remember when we had Chris Davis watching a ball game with us? So I think this was that game that he watched with us, and Parmalee hit 2 home runs. Okay, and he actually did hit 2 home runs in this actual game. So that's why I gave it a Game of the Year candidate. He actually did hit 2 home runs in this actual game, and Parmalee hits 2 home runs in the inside pitch game. So for those people wondering if inside pitch is realistic, I think so. Tampa Bay beats Houston 4-3. I know that game is not rigged. Miami beats San Diego 5-4. Why was this a Game of the Year candidate? Let's see. Why was this a game? We gave us a Game of the Year candidate. Why? Home runs. I don't see why. Maybe wild pitch or something here. Maybe some. I mean, they've only got 1 run in the bottom of the 9th. Strikeout here. I don't know. But whatever it is, I'll mark it off. Detroit over Kansas City 4-2. Now, here is the game right here that took 2 days. This is the game that a lot of people say are the game of the year. San Francisco at Pittsburgh. This is the game where the Giants got out to an 8-0 lead. They got out to an 8-0 lead. It was Madison Bumgarner versus Phil Locke of the Pirates. This was the game where the internet kicked out, and I had to continue this game the next day. They got out to an 8-0 lead, and then 3 errors by the Pirates. But the Pirates scored 5 in the bottom of the 3rd. This was during a bad rainstorm outside. Then the Giants got 2 runs, and the Pirates got 4 runs, and they led, and they were so the Giants were leading 10-9. And after 8-0 and 2 errors here, and then I lost the internet about here. I think I lost the internet between the 5th and 6th inning. And then I had 2 errors for the Giants, got 2 runs for the Pirates, and then 2 runs in the top of the 8th, a run in the bottom of the 8th. We went to the 11th, and the Pirates won this game 13-12 in 11 innings, and this is going to get a check mark as that is definitely this a lot of people said was already the game of the year. I really felt this was going to be the game of the year. That was until we got to the postseason. Colorado beat Arizona 7-3. Atlanta over the Mets 6-5. Let's see. San Francisco over Oakland 2-1. Game of the year candidate. The Giants got 1 run in the top of the 9th. 3 straight base hits. Not sure why, but okay. I'm just marking. I'm not thrilled. It's no big deal. Texas crushed Minnesota 13-3. We didn't have that many high-scoring games in this postseason. In the season, we really didn't. Toronto beats the Royals 6-0. There's your 7th shutout. The Mets beat the Nationals 4-3. This was a game of the year candidate where Travis d'Arnaud hit a pinch hit bomb in the bottom of the ninth inning to win it for the Mets. Travis d'Arnaud came in there and blasted one out. That was a good game of the year, but it's pretty decent there. Here is the All-Star game. The American League beat the National League 5-4. 5 errors by 5 errors in the game, and a lot of them were done by Daniel Murphy, who was at second. Let's see, I had 1 E4, 2 E4, 3 E4, 1 E5, and there's let's see here, right? Let me make sure here. 1 E1 to the pitcher. So Daniel Murphy had 3 errors in this game for the National League and the All-Star game, and the American League took it 5-4 in the All-Star game. So 3 errors from there. Seattle beats Houston 5-4. That game was definitely not rigged. Seattle won on an RBI single by Ketel Marte in the bottom of the 9th inning to give the game to Seattle. And that was a big win for the Mariners. And, of course, that game wasn't rigged. Baltimore beat the Yankees 3-2. 6-4 Dodgers over Nationals. Mariners over the Blue Jays 8-1. Detroit 14-5 over Boston. 2 grand slams in this game. That's why this was a game of the year candidate, and I'll give it a mark. There were 2 grand slams in this game between Detroit and Boston. And it was Nick Castellanos who hit both of them. Nick Castellanos hit a grand slam here to bring in Kinsler, Iglesias, and Cabrera, and then he hit a grand slam here to bring in Iglesias, Cabrera, and Martinez. So Nick Castellanos hit 2 grand slams in this game. At least I think he did he? I think he did. I know there was a home run here by Martinez. That might have been one too. Or did he not hit it? Maybe he did. Maybe it wasn't Castellanos. I think it was no, it wasn't. Castellanos hit one and Martinez hit one. Okay, no. I put him on there. So Victor Martinez hit a grand slam and Nick Castellanos hit a grand slam. So 2 grand slams in the ball game. That's the first time I ever had that happen in an inside pitch game. Milwaukee beat Pittsburgh 5-2. Marlins over Cubs 6-4. Marlins got a nice win over the Cubs. Texas beat Houston 6-4. The Astros were leading 4-2 throughout most of the game. Then the Rangers got 2 in the 9th to tie it and 2 in the 10th to win it. All right, that game was definitely not rigged. So the Rangers went ahead and beat the Astros. The Astros got bitten by 9th inning magic the entire season. The Astros did not win a single game on the board. They were 0-6 an inside pitch. Steeler fan, I hate to say that, Matt. They were 0-6 an inside pitch, and they lost to 9th inning magic, I think, 3 times. Unbelievable. They were 0-6. They didn't win a single game on the board. The Rangers didn't lose a game on the board. Neither did the Cardinals. They were 2-0. The Phillies didn't lose a game, and neither did the Rockies. But they only played a couple of games, though. But yeah, the Astros didn't win a single game of inside pitch. Detroit beat Seattle 11-3. Boston over the Yankees 4-3. The Yankees scored 1 run in the top of the 11th. The Red Sox scored 2 in the bottom of the 11th. That's the reason why it became a game of the year candidate. Pretty good. But I'll mark it off. Dodgers over Pittsburgh 6-5. Dodgers got 1 run in the bottom of the 10th inning to win that game against the Pirates. This game was in August. Boston shut out Baltimore 5-0. That is our 8th shutout. And then the Mets shut out the Giants 6-0. We had a couple of times where we had 2 shutouts in a row. And the Mets shut out the Giants 6-0. That's our 9th shutout. of the season. Then Pittsburgh goes ahead and beats the Astros 3-2, another non-rigged game. Texas beat Cleveland 4-3. Rangers got a run in the bottom of the 10th inning on a single by Ian Desmond. And Toronto crushed Baltimore 9-1 as we're now approaching September. 3-2 Mets over the Marlins. Cubs shut out the Giants 1-0, and that's our 10th shutout of the season. So a 1-0 win for the Cubs over the Giants. Cleveland beat the Astros 2-1. The Astros had a 1-0 lead throughout the entire game until the Indians got a home run, and then a stolen base and a wild pitch brought in Davis, which by Gregerson, who gave up a wild pitch to score the winning run. And Cleveland beat the Astros 2-1. Definitely not a rigged game. And Baltimore beat Detroit 5-4. Nationals over Mets 6-2. Cleveland over Detroit 6-2. San Francisco destroyed the Dodgers 12-1 in a game in late September. Dodgers went through a lot of pitchers that game. Then Baltimore. This may have been the highest scoring game by one team of the season. Baltimore destroyed Boston 15-6. There were 27 hits total in this game. Got a game of the year candidate as well, probably because of the 15 runs, but not bad, but we'll mark it. Detroit beat Kansas City 8-7. That's a game of the year candidate as the Tigers scored on a walk-off walk, which allowed the run to score for Victor Martinez to score. Not bad, but mark it. Cubs over Pittsburgh 7-5 as we now into the final week. Detroit beats Cleveland 7-2. Boston over the Yankees 10-1. There really wasn't much to play in the final week. Pretty much everything was already decided. Baltimore beat Toronto 2-0. That's another shutout. That's the 11th. San Francisco over the Dodgers 4-1. Dodgers over the Giants 8-0. Another shutout. That makes 12. Dodgers over San Francisco 4-3. And that pretty much won the division there for the Dodgers. So that was the final day of the regular season. As the Dodgers beat the Giants, and because of the better board, they both finished with the same record. 96 and 66, but because the Dodgers had the better board record, they would win the division. Remember, board record is the first tiebreaker and first tiebreakers, and I'm not doing any more game 163s. So if you're a team that's in it, you're going to get more board plays, and your board record is your first tiebreaker. Second tiebreaker is the most runs scored between the two on the board between the two teams. And the third is net runs. So we had 12 shutouts, okay, in the regular season. That's just the regular season. We had 12 shutouts. Now we go to the postseason. Detroit knocks out Seattle in Game 1 of the American League Wild Card Series. The Mets need 10 innings, but they do it against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And the Mets beat them 2-1 to win Game 1 of the National League Wild Card Series. Then Detroit shuts out Baltimore in Game 2 of the American League Wild Card Series to send Detroit to the Division Series. That's your 13th shutout. And the Mets took it to extra innings against the San Francisco Giants, but the Mets committed 2 gigantic errors in the 10th inning and allowed the Giants to win this ball game. And again, my Mets just cannot win a series. They haven't done so yet. So, and as I said before, if anyone thinks I try to rig games for the Mets, I would like to ask you guys, how come my Mets haven't won a World Series yet? So, I haven't even won a playoff series yet. Every playoff series the Mets have been in on my network, they've lost. They haven't won a wild card series, and they haven't won a division series. They had a 2-0 lead against the Giants in 1988, and the Giants swept them 3 straight. They lost to the Phillies in 76, 3-1. So, My Mets haven't won anything either. So I don't want to hear anybody saying I rigged games for the Mets because I haven't won anything. Despite the rigging, they can't win. What does that say? Exactly. Boston beats Texas 2-1 as we now begin the division series round. So the Red Sox pretty much took care of business against the Rangers. They would sweep them. Dodgers would beat the Nationals 4-1 in game one. Cleveland shuts out Detroit 8-0. There's your 14th shutout. They actually dominated the Tigers in this one. The Tigers only got one hit. Corey Kluber was almost got a no-hitter, but he gave up the hit in the 8th inning. I tell you, I really thought Kluber, when I was rolling this game, I actually thought Kluber was really going to finally do this. But nope, he gave only another one-hitter. I've done a lot of one-hitters. I've got a lot of one-hitters, but I've just not gotten that no-hitter in inside pitch yet. I have one in payoff pitch. Steeler fan can tell you all about that no-hitter in payoff pitch. Okay, and I'm sure that's one of his favorite games. He loves talking about that no-hitter between the Giants and the Astros in my 1994 payoff pitch restart. Okay, I know Steeler fan he loves talking about that game a lot. You can ask him, he'll tell you all about it. Cubs beat the Giants 5-4 in game one of that NLDS. This was a game of the year candidate as the Cubs won in the bottom of the 9th inning on a home run by Miguel Montero. Game twos, Boston bounced Texas 6-2. Dodgers over the Nationals 6-3. Detroit 3-1 over the Indians. This is where I thought was a huge game. This I thought was a huge game. I thought when Detroit beat Cleveland and Justin Verlander was going to pitch game 3, I thought Detroit might have had a good chance to really put the screws on the Indians in game 3 of the ALDS, plus the game was going back to Comerica Park. And the Cubs, again, 9th inning magic in the bottom of the 9th inning. A home run by Ben Zobrist in the bottom of the 9th inning gives this game to the Cubs. That's a game of the year candidate. Pretty good, but Boston beats Texas 6-3. They sweep the Rangers right out. The Rangers did get 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th, but there wasn't much they could do as the Red Sox went ahead and just took out the Rangers 3 straight. I thought when I saw that happen, I said this Boston team is going to be a very tough out. Then in game 3, the Nationals destroyed the Dodgers 13-1. Kenta Maeda got crushed by Steven Strasburg in this game. So the Nationals destroyed them 13-1 here. And then this game here, Cleveland beat Detroit 3-2. The Tigers got out to a 2-run lead early, and then the Indians just got there. Verlander couldn't do it. Trevor Bauer got the win. I thought this could, if Detroit had somehow won this game and taken a 2-1 series lead on the Indians, I kind of thought maybe it could have been very interesting that Detroit could have knocked out Cleveland. And then we go on to here. The Giants beat the Cubs 4-3 in game 3 of this division. Game of the year candidate because the Giants scored all 4 runs in the 7th. Good game, but mark it. Washington beat the Dodgers 5-4. So the home team won every game in the Dodger National Series. Game of the year candidate. Why was this? So why was this here? We're on the top of the 9th. Let's see here. Why was this? No decision. Repchinski, Melanson. I don't know, but okay. Mark it. Cleveland then beat Detroit 4-2. In game 4 of that ALDS, the Indians knocked out the Tigers. They were done. And then we go to the NLDS. The Cubs beat the Giants 2-1, and they would knock out the Giants on the road, and that would take out the Giants. And then they'll go to game 5 between the Nationals and the Dodgers, and the Dodgers would win this game 8-4 over the Nationals, and they would move on to the championship series. We have 14 shutouts so far, so let's take a look at here. So Boston beats Cleveland 2-0 in the first game. This was a huge win for the Red Sox to beat the Indians 2-0, and that's a 15th shutout, as Rick Porcello looked unhittable, all right, mostly in that game. And then the Cubs would beat the Dodgers in game 1 of that series 4-2. Then the Red Sox would win the second game on the road 5-3. Tyler Naquin got a pinch hit home run. All right. Then the Dodgers would shut out the Cubs in game 2, 3-0, and that is your 16th shutout. Their 16th shutout. And then in game 3, the Red Sox beat the Indians 7-4. So the Red Sox had a 3-0 lead after this game, and I thought the Red Sox would sweep Cleveland right out. I didn't think that would go back to a game 6. I really didn't. There were 16 strikeouts in this game combined. There were 6. Everybody was striking everybody out. 16 strikeouts. And then here the Cubs beat the Dodgers in game 3 of that series. So the Cubs now have a 2-1 lead. Then Cleveland goes ahead and steals one from the Red Sox 9-7, as Junichi Tozawa actually took the loss. He took the loss in this game. Cleveland had the lead mostly, but then 2 runs in the to get it. This was a good game right here. The Indians scored a run, and then Boston scored 2 in the bottom of the 9th. I thought that was gonna be it. I really thought that was gonna be it. But then the Indians got 2 in the 10th, so this gets a check mark. This was a good one here. And the Dodgers beat the Cubs 6-1 in game 4 of this series. Then Cleveland beats the Red Sox 4-2. They score 3 runs in the top of the 9th. Game of the year candidate. Pretty good, but not great. Then the Cubs beat the Dodgers 2-1. So we were very close to seeing a Cubs-Red Sox World Series. The Cubs had a 3-2 lead going back to Wrigley, and I kind of thought the Dodgers were done. But inside pitch and other plans. Boston shuts out Cleveland 4-0 in game 6 of that ALCS. That's the 17th shutout of the season, and the Boston Red Sox are on their way to the World Series. So the Cleveland Indians, who historically won it, didn't get there. And then the Dodgers beat the Cubs 5-3 in game 6 of that NLCS. And then we're going to a game 7. And then game 7, the Dodgers win that game 8-5. And nothing went right for the Cubs. They ran out of ninth inning magic. And that pretty much ended it there. And so we would be a Red Sox-Dodgers World Series. Now here's World Series game 1. And this was the game that was absolutely crazy. The Red Sox got out to a 1-0 lead. They had a 2-0 lead. Then in the bottom of the 9th inning, the Dodgers get 2 runs to tie the game. In the bottom of the 9th inning. We go all the way to the 13th. The Red Sox get 1 run in the 13th. The Dodgers get 1 run in the 13th. I got to play another inning. And then we go to the 14th inning, and the Dodgers get 1 run in the bottom of the 14th inning on an infield single by a relief pitcher, Lewis Coleman. A relief pitcher. I was out of batters, and good to see you, TBSP. I was out of batters, so the pitchers had to bat. So with a runner on third, with a runner on third base, and the infield was in, and it was Lewis Coleman just trying to do something. He grounded it to the pitcher, and the die roll was a 6. All runners advance, no matter what. According to Chris, I checked him with it anyway. He said you did that's the rule. And so Lewis Coleman got an infield single to score the winning run in the bottom of the 14th inning here in the World Series. And the Dodgers would win it 4-3 in a really crazy game. And this gets a check mark. And I think, and the Dodgers in game 2, the Red Sox were led 2-0. And then the Dodgers got 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning here because Craig Kimbrell couldn't get an out. As Craig Kimbrell could not get it out. So, and he shut it out, and the Dodgers win game 2. When that happened, the Dodgers won both games the way that happened. I kind of thought the Dodgers were going to win it after that. So then we went to game 3, and this was the highest scoring game of the World Series. Boston 9 runs, the Dodgers 8 runs. A good game here. But the Red Sox will win that one. And then game 4, the Red Sox win it 3-2, another 1-run game. And then Dodgers shut out the Red Sox in game 5, 8-0. That is the 18th shutout for the postseason, for the series season. 18 shutouts, okay, done here in Inside Pitch. And that was the only game. And then, of course, last night, game 6, the Dodgers, the Red Sox again score first. The Red Sox again score first. All right, but then the Dodgers get 2 runs in the bottom of the 2nd. Red Sox matched them 2-2. Then one run here in the bottom of the 6th inning on a wild pitch. Given up by I believe it was Raw. I believe it was Abad. Was it Abad? Was it Wright? I think it was Abad. Abad gave up a wild pitch that would give up a run, and the Dodgers would hold on, and they would become the 2016 World Series champs. And I gave the MVP to the Goon, Chase Utley, who batted .329 for the entire postseason and had 3 home runs. He was the most consistent batter. Plus, he had 3 home runs. Justin Turner had 5 home runs. Grandal had 4 home runs. But I'll give it to Utley because he was the most consistent player. And .329 batting average and 3 home runs. I'm pretty sure nobody has a problem. Nobody had a problem with Chase Utley getting the MVP. I don't think you guys have an issue with that. Is there anything wrong with a .329 batting average and 3 home runs in a postseason? I don't think you guys have an issue with it. So your Dodgers are your World Series champions for 2016, and Chase Utley gets the MVP. So what is our game of the year? Well, I gotta tell you, the 2 biggest game of the years was the game between San Francisco and Pittsburgh, where I had to continue with the next day. Okay, and yes, that was a heck of a game, but I'm gonna go ahead. My choice for game of the year, because of what it meant. And because of how big and crazy this game was, because I pretty much used every single pitcher, and it was a relief pitcher that got the game-winning hit for the Dodgers, my game of the year is World Series Game 1 between the Boston Red Sox and the Los Angeles Dodgers, although that San Francisco-Pittsburgh game is very, very close. They had an 8-0 lead, and Pittsburgh came right back, but this is my choice for game of the year because this was a postseason game. This was a World Series game. If the Red Sox win this game instead of the Dodgers, who knows where this World Series goes to? We probably have a game 7. But this is going to be my choice for game of the year. I will take this game and put it in my in my best games playlist. And I also will put the the San Francisco and Pittsburgh game in there too, because that does get a serious honorable mention. But my choice for game of the year, World Series Game 1, Boston Red Sox versus Los Angeles Dodgers, a 14-inning game where the Red Sox had a 2-0 lead. The Dodgers got 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th. Then we go to the 13th. The Red Sox scored 1 in the top of the 13th. The Dodgers scored 1 in the bottom of the 13th, and then the Dodgers scored 1 in the bottom of the 14th to win the ball game. A Steeler fan wants to say when the Mets quit, down 8-0. Well, like I said, well, Steeler fan, we all can't beat Bill Swift, can we? So that's my choice for game of the year, and I think that's a fine choice. I think that's an excellent choice for game of the year. So that is the review. So congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers to winning the World Series in 2016. And 18 shutouts. 18 shutouts. Now, I think the total amount of games, I usually play about 65 regular season games. And about 65 regular season games. And if you include all the playoff games, maybe about a total of maybe close to 80, maybe a little bit around 80 games. 18 shutouts. So every game that I played of inside pitch in this season, there was almost a 20% chance that game was going to be a shutout. That's interesting. Almost a 20% chance it was going to be a shutout. Someone was going to get no runs. 2016. The 2016 World Series, the team that scored first was 1-5. 5 of the 6 games were one-run wins. 5 of the 6 were one run. That's how close that World Series was. 1 run. 5 of the 6 were one-run games. That's amazing. That World Series was really amazing. I mean, that was fun to play. I look forward to more contemporary baseball. I can only feel that contemporary baseball more from 2010 to 2023 or 2024. You know, who knows what's going to happen. 39 postseason games this year. Okay, yeah. Like I said, really amazing how that worked out. 18 shutouts. That is a lot. That is high. And I only imagine what the next season is going to be. So that is it for the season review. It is now time for the season reveal. So let's get right to it. Time to find out and see which our next seasons will be. Remember, the dice now decide. So I want to thank all of you guys for voting. Actually, before I do that, I need a drink. So be right back. By the way, happy Halloween to everybody out there for those who celebrate it. Okay. Yeah, Inside Pitch has driven me to drink. That's no kidding. All right. So again, thank you very much. I actually had Fanta orange I have actually Fanta orange in the fridge right now. So say goodbye to the 2016 season as that now leaves us. As that will now join the rest of the season selection cards that will be used in the next selection show. So let us see what we have. So I had about 95 votes in the poll, which is pretty good. And I think that was a lot easier for me to keep track of things. 95 votes in the poll. And I had about another 11 in Facebook, which I'm not able to add to the poll. But I did go ahead and add them in there, and by adding the votes that were gotten in Facebook, it wouldn't have changed the poll percentages anyway. So getting 2 dice in 4th place is 1956. So 1956 was in 4th place. I'm shocked that 1956 only got was wound up in 4th. I expected 56 to get more votes. All right. I expected 56 to get more votes. I was really shocked that wound up last. I thought that would get 3rd. I thought they would get 3rd because the team that I thought was going to get the season that I thought was going to get last didn't. And so in 3rd place, getting the third most amount of votes is 2022. I was really shocked that 2022 beat out 1956. I am really shocked. I guess some people wanted to replay the 22 season. Let me be honest, 22 was a very good year last year. The 2022 season, I hope that you guys one day will choose it. I'm pretty sure, or if it could still get it, tonight, depending on how the dice roll. So, but 2022 would be a fun season to play. But it got the 3rd place amount of votes. 2022 stunk. No, it didn't. The Mets had 101 wins. I don't know what you're talking about. In 2nd place, and I'm actually a little surprised that wound up in 2nd place. 1990 is in 2nd place. It will roll 4 dice. So 1990 is in 2nd place as they went ahead. And I'm actually surprised 1990 got 2nd, but I guess we haven't done a modern season yet. But 1990 in 2nd place. So in 1st place, rolling 5 dice, with the best chance for this season to be done is 1972. So 1972 is going to roll 5 dice in the reveal. So there are your seasons. It is now time to find out who it will be. So we will move 1991 to the side. These seasons are out for good. We will bring in the tower. I'll let the tower decide it. So here are our dice. It will be a best of 7. It will be a best of 7. In round 1, 2022 will roll 3 black dice. 1956 will roll 2 yellow dice. And I may tweak this again for the next show, but right now I'm going to keep it the way I said it would. I may tweak it again for the next season selection show, but this is how it will work. So it is a best of 7. It is as mid of 19. We have to roll double headers all season. So it's a best of 7 here for round 1, 1956 versus 2022. The first season to win 4 moves on to the next round. So let's see. 2022 rolls black. 1956 rolls yellow. Let's see what happens in first roll. And we have, for 22, 13 and 5. So 22 wins the first roll. Second roll. 6, 8, 10. 10 for 1956. I'm sorry, no, 6, 8, 10. 1956 wins a roll. So 1956, now it's a 1-1 tie. Third roll. 2, 3, 7 for 2022. 9 for 1956. 1956 now leads 2-1. Fourth roll. 2022, 6, 9, 10 to 5. And this is tied. We are back to tie. 2022 has 2 wins. 1956 has 2 wins. Roll number 5. And that's going to be a win for black. 6, 12, 16 against 8. And 2022 will now have 3 wins. One more win for 2022, and they will face 1990. Can 1956 win this one? 4, 7, 8 against 5. Nope, that's going to be 4 wins to 2 for 2022. 1956 is eliminated and will go back into the selection cards. Round number 2, 1990 versus 2022. 1990 will now roll 4 black dice, and 2022 will roll 3 yellow dice. So now we will see what happens as 1990 will take on 2022. Best of 7. Roll number 1. 1990, 6, 12, 15, 16 against 10. 1990 will win the first roll. Second roll. 5, 5, 9, 11. 6, 10, 11. It is a tie, but because 1990 got more votes, it will automatically get the win, and that will be 2 wins for 1990. Remember, the team that gets... Oh, missing a black die. He's right. Thank you. Well, they won it anyway. Hate it when it gets caught up in there. All right, so it's still 2 wins anyway. Third roll. 4, 8, 11, 13, 5, 10, 13. It's a tie, but 1990, because it had more votes, does win it. So now 1990 leads 2022 3 rolls to none. Does 2022 have anything left? Nope, that's going to be an easy win for 1990. 6, 12, 17, 19 against 11. So that's a win for 1990. 2022 is eliminated and will go back into the season selection cards. Now the final round. 1972 versus 1990. 1972 will roll 5 black dice. 1990 gets to roll 4 black dice. First time the Reds ever beat the Astros on this channel, it was this rip business. So 1972 versus 1990. The winner will go. We will see what happens here as we will roll all the dice. 5 black for 72, 4 yellow for 90. Let's see what happens. The first roll. Let's see. For 72, 6, 11, 14, 16, 17. 6, well, that's easy. 1972 wins the first roll. Second roll. 1972, 5, 9, 10, 15, 6, 11, 15, 16. 1990 wins a roll. Tied at 1. Tied at 1. Third roll. Oh, 5, 10, 15, 19, 20, 6, 12, 18, 21. 1990 now leads 2 wins to 1. 1990 now leads 2 rolls. 2 to 1 for 1990. 1972 now 1 roll back. Next roll. For 72, 5, 10, 14, 18, 19, 5, 10, 15, 19. It is a tie. That goes to 1972. because it got the most votes. Oh, that was close. No, wait a minute. That's 20. My bad. 5, 10, 15, 19, 20. It's a win anyway. Never mind. I can't count. I can't count. 5, 9, 5, 10. No, it is 19. What am I thinking? Never mind. I had a rough day at work. Okay, on the next day. So the rolls are tied at 2. It's now a best of 3 to decide what our next season will be. Roll number 5, 6, 11, plus 4 is 15, 18, 21. That definitely beats what's there. And 1972 now leads by 1 roll. So now, 1972 versus 1990. 1 more roll. 1990's making it close, but can 1972 hold on? Here comes roll number 6 for 1972. 6, 11, 15, plus 3 is 18, 20. 6, 11, 16, 17. Nope, that's not going to be enough. 1990 is eliminated and will go back into the selection cards. Therefore, your next season, starting January 1, 2024, will be 1972. So 1972 is going to be your next season of Inside Pitch. And let's take a closer look at it. Let's take a closer look at 1972 while we're at it. Let's take a closer look at the season, shall we? So 1972, okay, as I'll bring up the baseball reference. So 1972, your contenders will be, well, the Cincinnati Reds played the Oakland Athletics in the World Series. So the Athletics and the Reds, that's going to be our demo game, either December 23rd or December 24th. Does anybody have a problem if I do a demo game on Christmas Eve? Does anybody have an issue with that? I don't know. Or should I just do it on December 23rd so that you guys can go ahead and, just do it. I know it's a family day. That's what I figured. So I may have to do it December 23rd. So I may do it that day. I don't know if I'm working that day, but I may do it December 23rd for, I don't know yet. Like I said, we got time to think. I got time to think about it yet. But that'll be the demo game. So the demo game is going to be the Cincinnati Reds versus the Oakland Athletics at Oakland Coliseum. That'll be the demo game for 1972. And that, of course, is the week before. That is, of course, the week before before opening day. Your contenders. Now remember, in 1972, they did not play a full 162 game season. Remember, there was a strike early in 1972, and the season didn't start until April 17th. So some teams are going to play 156 games. Some teams are going to play 159 games. And no, I'm not adding games. It is a replay. So your contenders are from the American League, the Detroit Tigers at 86 wins. The Red Sox had 85. The Orioles had 80 wins. The Yankees at 79. In the West, the Athletics won that division. The Chicago White Sox were good that year. The Twins were at 500. Kansas City was only 2 games under 500. In the National League, the Pirates led that division. The Cubs had 85 wins. The Mets had 83 wins. The Mets are definitely contenders. They couldn't hit a lick that year, though, but their pitching was excellent. That very good pitching. The Cincinnati Reds, of course, won the National League West that year. The Dodgers will be contenders. The Astros will be contenders. They were right behind the Dodgers. So those are your contenders. Is this going to be just play every Reds game, 6-month regular season, no fast score for Reds? You wish. So that would be your so those were your main uh those are your main teams. Your batting leaders that year, leaders in batting average was Billy. You had Billy Williams, Ralph Garr, Dusty Baker, a young Dusty Baker at 23 years old, batted .321. 26-year-old Rod Carew, Lou Piniella, Bob Watson, a 33-year-old Lou Brock, Joe Rudy, Ron Santo hit over 300, Richie Hebner, Richie Scheinblum. These guys were excellent. And of course, 1972. Yes, 1972 is the last year for Roberto Clemente. As yes, he would die. He would pass away. He would be killed in the crash, Clemente, at the end of the season. But that was in December. So if the Pirates do make the postseason, Roberto Clemente will be alive and well. Okay, he will be. Roberto Clemente will be alive. Will be alive and well if the Pirates do make the postseason. In that season, because he didn't pass away until December. So until the season was over. So Roberto Clemente, if the Pirates make the postseason, he will be in there. Your leading pitchers that year. Your leading pitchers that year was El Deonte. Louis Tiant had a 1.91 ERA. Gaylord Perry had a 1.92 ERA, a 20-game winner. Lefty had a 1.97 ERA. Catfish Hunter was 2.04. Jim Palmer was 2.07. John Matlack of the Mets, 2.32. Leaders in wins. Catfish Hunter had 21 wins. Tom Seaver had 21 wins. So those were your leaders in pitching in 1972. So that's what you're going to see in the 1972 replay. And so now I got to go ahead and give you the opening day game. I did choose one opening day game for each season, depending on who won it. 1972 actually was the easiest one to choose. So, opening day of the 1972 season, January 1, 2024, New Year's Day. And I looked through it and I decided, well, I think you should open up with two Hall of Fame pitchers. And because that's what it's all about, is the Hall of Fame. So, opening day which is April 15th, 1972, which will be January 1, 2024, will be the Philadelphia Phillies versus the Chicago Cubs, and a starting pitching matchup between Steve Carlton and Fergie Jenkins. Does anybody have a problem with an opening day game of Steve Carlton and Fergie Jenkins? Does anybody have a problem with two Hall of Famers facing off to start the 1972 season? I didn't think you did. That's right. Games were not made up. Correct, MLC. That's right. And I'm not making up any games. So, might not get 3 National League East teams over 500. I think we will. We'll find out. We'll see. It'll be the top 3 teams in each division must have a winning record as we go back to the 2 division alignment. So no Seattle Mariners, no Toronto Blue Jays, and no designated hitter either. No DH in 1972. 1973 was the first year of the DH. So no designated hitter. Not makeup if a team beats out. Nope, no makeup. No makeup. Sorry. Replay. Nope. I don't care if they get beat by half a game. Nope. I didn't do it for I didn't make up any games for 1981. Not doing it for this either. Nope. So that's how it's going to go here for 1972. are still planning a 24-hour live subscribe-a-thon this weekend. So the Blue Jays came into the league in 1977 along with the Seattle Mariners. That's when they went to 26 teams in the league. So 1972 is going to be our next replay. The demo game between the Cincinnati Reds and the Oakland Athletics will probably either be Saturday, December 23rd or Sunday, December 24th, early in the day. I'll decide then. And opening day for 1972 will be January 1, 2024 at 8 o'clock that night. It's New Year's Day, and it will be the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. Steve Carlton versus Fergie Jenkins. I don't see how you could have a better starting pitching matchup to start the 72 season. That should be amazing. Well, guys, that's it. I hear, and as the owner of RJL Network, I hereby close the book on the 2016 Inside Pitch season. We put that season to bed, and now we prepare for 1972 in 2 months. And I am going to do some streaming. I will go ahead and do some streaming of other stuff. I will do a State of the Network address on Friday night at about 8 o'clock. I'll do a State of the Network so you guys can just talk to me about whatever you want. So I'll do a nice State of the Network address for Friday night at about 8. And it'll just be you and me guys and all of that. So I want to thank every one of you for joining. There's too many of you for me to count down. So thank you very much for joining me. The 2016 season is in the books. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I look forward more to contemporary seasons. But it's time to go back, I guess, to the classic years. 1972 is your next season. So, as I usually say, of course, don't forget our next telecast for Inside Pitch will be the 1972 demo game between the Cincinnati Reds and the Oakland Athletics. And game opening day will be January 1, 2024, April 15th, 1972, the Philadelphia Phillies versus the Chicago Cubs. Carlton versus Jenkins. How can you go wrong with two great Hall of Famers? Be there or be square.